Well, a lot of that was unnecessary. But anyway, good morning. Um, I'm doing a bootleg podcast. I don't really yeah, when you do YouTube, hmm, I guess maybe when people do it on their computers, they get to have an image like how Facebook allows you to do an audio recording, live audio recording, or a live video recording if you want. YouTube doesn't allow that. Doesn't have that feature. Doesn't allow it because they know how to give you the ability. And I think I even recorded one video with that feature, and they took it off. So my neck hurts. Anyway, I stuck a rubber band around my camera so I can be free. This is my neck is hurts. Ooh, my neck really hurts. I don't know why. Hmm. This is an experiment. I want to talk, you know what I mean? Mm. And I mean, besides, oh, that's cute. That's cute. Besides, making the what you call, um, blocking the camera, is easy. That is so cute. This one here, I'm looking at these things at the bottom. I think I'll leave it. The other one I was gonna put was this one, which is not no purpose in it. What does black bubbles do? Ooh. Oh, I like that. It moves. Yeah. Black bubbles. Or black bubbles in the darkness. Yeah, all the rest of them, you can't do anything with the black. So anyway, what about this one? No, you're gonna blind somebody. Yeah, this is an experiment right here. Anyway, I just been thinking. Unfortunately, I am influenced by what people talk about and what people make as news. I am influenced by it, and it controls what I have on my mind to say and what I have on my mind. So hey, um, I figure instead of listening to these damn boring ass podcasts on Google Podcasts, let me try to make my own boring Google my own boring podcast, my own boring Google podcast for that matter. This is YouTube, so I'm talking, and you know that I have this um Phil thing still on my mind. Why? Please don't ask me why. I don't know. But I do have this Phil thing still on my mind. Maybe it was something that I saw or heard that made me think of it. My consciousness goes out to you all in the other parts of the country that's not the Northeast. I think that in general terms, life in the Northeast is unique, you know, um, as life in, the Midwest is unique, or the Southwest, or the Southeast, or the Deep South. I think life is unique, and I'm really talking to black people, black folks, basically, mainly. But we can generalize it. It's no issue. I mean, you know who the audience. How can I say this? The audience knows who they are. Put it that way. Even if the audience is as void as the blackness of my background. Um, and that Phil thing is on my mind. I find it interesting that he decided to leave Africa to come back to this and get. I hope he better doesn't get angry about it. It's because it's too bad that we don't have leaders amongst us that can go out. And Umar ain't perfect, but he kept it moving. Look at what Phil did. He kept it moving. He did video yesterday. He did video. I think he did a video yesterday. He did a video the day before. He's still doing videos while niggas is talking about him. Right? That's his position. He wants a cream pie. Well, everybody don't want that. Whatever you want. You know, this is America. See what happens when you keep it moving? That's what happens. So anyway, you know, that's the situation there. And my consciousness goes out to people in other parts of the country who are victims of lynching, literal, not figurative lynching, but literal lynches. Um, all year, we've heard of lynching ever since Sandra Bland. I think I would say that I started hearing more lynches. I consider her death a lynching. I was she found hanging in her jail cell? I don't remember if she was actually found hanging. All I remember was she was found with a black garbage bag choking around her neck and stuff. Uh, so she was suffocated to death, obviously. But ever since her death, I have been hearing about reports of more lynchings. That's where I would say that's where my memory begins when it comes to the latest lynchings. Put it that way. Um, that's my memory. Now there was some, but yeah, because there was somebody in South Carolina that got lynched. I think it was the same year that Sandra Bland died. Around the same time that that guy Scott was shot by the police officer. What's his name? Somebody Scott. And all of these lynchings that we've been hearing about this year, 2018, in Georgia and Kansas. Um, oh, and then the person, I believe this was either last Thanksgiving or it might have been a previous Thanksgiving in St. Louis. I think it was a couple of people in St. Louis, but I will say one story. I'm gonna tell one story because I don't know if this is a combination of two stories and that's how my mind remembered the information or what. But I'm gonna tell one story. Someone was found around the Thanksgiving time, hanging from a tree. It was a woman. This is why I'm saying it's two different people because I think it was a man too. It was a woman that was found basically lynched from an old ass tree. I would have to go and look up the info facts now because was the tree burnt or something or what else happened? It was something. It was a bizarre. It was a lot of details to this damn story. Uh, the person wasn't burnt. Was the tree burnt? I don't remember the details, but there was some woman found lynched or whatever or hanging. I forgot what was that about. I want to say it had something to do with a pregnancy. I don't because it could have been they said it was a suicide. They said it was more than one person that was found hanging. I believe that one of the people that was found in St. Louis actually did commit suicide. I believe, or that was the report. Anyway, um, and the other person, it was the person was just found there. That's the easiest way to explain it. The person was just found there, but it was two people. It would happen twice, and I'm not saying it happened twice last year. I'm just saying in the past since 2016 has happened. I've gotten two reports of it. One was a male, one was a female. And that was St. Louis. I don't know what that was really bizarre. That was shit was so bizarre that I can't even give you the information. But the person was found. The police found the person, and they even recorded it. It's on YouTube if it's still there. You got to go back to at least to 2016 and look for it. St. Louis. It was hanging from a tree, and they got the recording of. They probably took that video off of YouTube, but they got a recording of the police approaching where the body was at. I remember that video. So there was a lot of lynchings, and I would say that the first one, because I kind of consider Sandra Bland mysterious death a fucking, I consider that a lynching. I'm sorry. Um, that don't really happen up here. So if it's happening almost in every other region of the country, some of us are going to have to look at that. And if Phil is doing white supremacy hustle, he hustled, I guess, about $20 or $30 out of me. So he's not going to stay on it forever, because this is the presidency of Donald Trump. So if you know, if it's true, then that's what he's doing. I mean, what the fuck, you know? Um, you know, that is true. But he's not going. If it's a hustle, he's not going to do the same hustle forever. He's gonna, you know, become social again, like Charlemagne. You want to be a better version of Charlemagne? Is that what you're trying to do? Because Charlemagne is pretty much, and I'm talking about Charlemagne the God, you know, the radio personality from the Breakfast Club. I ain't talking about Charlemagne from the medieval times, whom Charlemagne the God reenacts almost, I would like to say, in his personality. So it's interesting that he chose to name himself behind that person. But anyway, back to what I was saying. He, you know, I mean, to me, he sets the bar pretty low. My opinion. I don't like him. I really don't like Charlemagne the God. I really don't like that person. Really, I really don't like his ass. And then when this thing came out, ironically, around the same time as all the other sexual scandals about him being a pedophile, that's what they call him, or raping a 14-year-old girl a long time ago. I don't know how old he is now, but I don't know how old he was when he did this crime, but he raped a 14-year-old. She was 14. And let's say that he's 40 right now. I think he was at least 30 years old when he did it. Okay. 14 is quite young. Anyway, this came out this year, about 3 months ago. I would say about 3 months ago it came out. And it's so interesting that I was talking to someone. I think it was somebody that I met on the bus on my way home last month. And he didn't even hear it, but he listens to the Breakfast Club, or people, you know, people to the radio. And this person didn't know anything about that case. Didn't know anything about that case. It's not really an allegation. It's actually a case. It's not really an allegation. He didn't hear shit about the goddamn case. Excuse my poor choice of words, but the point is he didn't hear anything about the case. And it's interesting to note that listeners, people who it's just like turning on the news, right? And you hear, like, I'll give an example about Matt Lauer, and then, well, why was he fired again? He did something, whatever what they finally fired him for. You hear about Matt Lauer being somebody that is exposed to television, but doesn't watch his morning show, his morning news show, and it goes on, and then 2 months later, 3 months later, you meet somebody that watch that say that at their job they play NBC they play the Today Show every morning at the person's job, and they sitting there doing their job or standing there working doing their job while Matt Lauer is doing his job, and they are exposed to it every day. Not based on their choice, but just based on the fact that it's major media, right? And then it goes on, and before, I mean, in the history, Matt Lauer was fired. So but say that it happened like that, and he didn't get fired. Say it happened like that, and people don't know that they're talking. You know what I'm saying? Before the information is revealed, and they don't know. The viewers, interestingly enough, don't are somehow insulated from the information. It happens quite often in the media. The viewers, uh, it happens a lot. You know, and what meanwhile people who are not in the target market, the viewing target market, they get the news, they get the information about this person and that person, and then you turn on, and if it wasn't for him, this person I met, I would have thought that he was still not on the show, because he actually wasn't on the show when it first came out that he raped this. He actually did rape the girl. When it first came out that he raped this girl, they canceled this. They canceled this. They canceled his. He wasn't. He wasn't. He was taken off the air. He was taken off the air. And if it wasn't for meeting this person that watches, listens to the show, I wouldn't have known that the motherfucker was back on. And it had been for almost 4 months. Or not almost 4 months. No, I would say about 3 months. I would say about 3 months where it came out. 3 months ago. I wouldn't have known that he was back on the air and everything was back to normal. They said they didn't even address it. They didn't talk about it. He just came back on the air. And I don't even think the guy noticed that he was gone from the show. Or maybe he forgot. I don't think he even noticed. So he probably missed a few shows, and they came back to work. So I mean, hey, if Phil wants to be a Charlemagne type, there's no comparison between the assault. I think rape is considered assault of a minor, a very young minor, and marrying a white woman. Because we just got to just say what it is. It's really, there's two different violations or two different sins. Some people consider it a sin. It's pretty much a sin. If you hustling people, if you race hustling people. But um, it's still a good comparison in terms of hustling the public, in terms of scandalizing, in terms of scandalizing. Because the fact of his, that doesn't fit. So in terms of that, in terms of letting it blow over, it fits very well. Fits like a glove. It fits like an OJ glove. It's just too small. Anyway, it fits like an OJ glove. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, this Phil issue. Maybe I wonder what the morale and the consciousness of the general American population will be 9 months after the current president is no longer the president, 18 months after the president is no longer president, 27 months after the current president is no longer the president. I'm not going to go beyond 27. That's enough. That's 2.5 years. Right? I think 2.5. 4. No, it's not 2.5. It's over 2 years. So anyway, Hmm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And then in terms of Phil, right? Well, the outlet is there. The line of communication is open, and Phil has the line of communication open, and he's doing his job in the current state. Where you have a white supremacist. I wasn't going to say ideology. That's not really because they talk amongst themselves. It's like black supremacists talk amongst themselves and spread teach their ideology and share their. It is what it is. Fuck it. Y'all are white. Y'all got an ideology that teaches that y'all are supreme or superior. We got one too. And so what? I'm not threatened by it. If you're white, you have the right to believe in the highest self that you can possibly get to, and vice versa. So anyway, back to what I was trying to say. And this time of polarity. How about that? How about that? In the time of polarity, because you could say that now we're dealing with another type of polarity. During the Obama years, you had this accusation of homosexual, the gay agenda, right? That's another type of polarity. Now we have a conspiracy of the gay agenda. Now we have another type of polarity, and is governed by the conspiracy of white supremacy, the white supremacist agenda, the white nationalist agenda, and people could take it or leave it, take it, accept it for what it is, interpret reality the way is coming off to anybody with the best, most objective scientific mind out there, and it is what it is. Um, in this time where white supremacy, the culture of white supremacy is being pushed amongst white people, amongst white nationalists, I guess white supremacists, white supremacists, white nationalists, and where these murders are taking place, even to the extent of, and I'm not even going to touch the little boy that was murdered by the police in Cleveland when he was playing with a toy gun by himself at the park. I'm not going to touch that one. I want to move away from that because it murks things up. I'm going to make parameters here. And the reason why I brought that up was because of the girl who was murdered by the man in Oakland, California on the train when she was on her way home from a memorial with her sister. The white supremacist. He wasn't even a police officer, so I didn't even have to make that distinction because the man wasn't even a police officer. He was just a regular person who actually was a felon. He was actually a jailbird who was released, did his time and got out of jail, got out of prison, and was, oh,